Welcome back to our YouTube channel.
And then you go.
I'm gonna rub mom's tits.
Welcome back to our YouTube
Mum,
channel.
no one can harmonise with that.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our YouTube channel, guys. We are here with Mum and Dad, and we are doing a Q&A. Let's go. Okay. Question 1. Are we jumping straight into it, or we want to go ease into it?
Straight in, go deep.
Come closer.
We like. I like deep.
That's fucking
Alright.
so sexual.
Let's go.
You like it deep?
Go in deep.
When your parents come to disputes, how do they work together to resolve them? So I think a lot of people want to know
Okay.
how you've been married for such a long time.
I'll tell you how.
Please don't cut me off when I'm
sorry.
trying to say my question. Sorry. A bunch of questions are similar, so it's just about how you've had such a solid marriage and lasted such a long time. Okay?
Would you like me
Resolve
to
them.
answer
Yeah,
this?
you answer.
Okay. So back in our younger years, when we would have an argument, I was quite stubborn, so I would really like Paul to just apologise, even if I knew it was my fault. But as we've grown older, because that's life and you evolve and you grow and all that, the way that we solve things now is we actually just talk. We talk it out, don't we?
Yeah.
I will talk to him, I'll tell him how I'm feeling, he'll tell me how I'm feeling. I think that just comes with maturity. I truly do, because I see, and because we've grown and we've learnt how to manage disagreements or whatever, I feel like now, because we're mature in the way that we solve arguments, our kids naturally do the same. So, you know,
Yeah, that's true.
Still young, but I do see they're a lot more mature than we were at that age. 'Cause I feel like that's how we resolve things. Do you? We definitely communicate and
Yeah.
don't, like, be honest.
Yeah.
You're sitting there like you're acting like I'm forcing
Come on,
you
you're
to
going to
say
chat
something.
as well.
Do you feel that's
I'm
what we
thinking
do?
maybe you guys just talk to mum, because like none of these questions are gonna
No,
revolve around
Dad.
No, just sit
and
it.
I'm just
Okay,
sitting
you
there
have
like
to.
this.
Okay, I will communicate with
No,
that because
no,
I know
no.
how. No, shush, yes. Okay, so when we have a disagreement, obviously as we've matured, we've just learned to communicate and talk about things, which in doing that, our children now do the same with their parents.
Do you feel like you go, okay, she needs 5 minutes because she has a hot hair, she's hot-headed, or do you feel like you just naturally just like communicate?
No, we just naturally communicate, I
Yeah,
think.
it's a hard one.
Yeah.
It's actually not a hard one, but I think there's no real
Step by step.
Yeah.
but that's just our relationship. We
Yeah.
don't argue and fight much.
Yeah.
So I don't know how
Dad
you.
just lets mum win.
I don't know how you can help anyone with that, because that's our relationship is we
Yeah.
don't fight and argue.
Yeah, but
Maybe
because
once
you
every now
communicate.
and then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
But like, I feel
We
like
have
with
little
you,
bickers.
like anyone can communicate, but like you communicate straight from the start, so nothing ever gets like so big that like
No.
it's a big fight. Like if something is small, you should communicate about it
Well,
straight
yeah.
away.
You know, to be honest, I think maybe our
It's not for telling.
no, well, maybe I think we set our boundaries very young,
Yeah.
didn't we? So, because we had boundaries set young, it's sort
you
of
kind of
like
knew where the line was.
yeah, we just knew where the line was.
But
Yeah.
I think we were naturally quite, I would say, innocent humans, really.
Yeah.
Besides, you know, the typical boy things, but with each other, we just knew what we wanted.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
suppose the difference too with me and Mum was that we sort of wanted, like I wanted to be a dad.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
we
I
both
wanted.
wanted to be
Yeah.
married
I wanted
and
to
be
be
parents,
a mom.
and that
I
was
didn't
all we
want
wanted.
You
just sort of like
Yeah.
our personalities is like and our nature is
So it's
just
like made for each other.
yeah.
And I agree with
Maybe
that. I
that's
don't
what, maybe
think
that's what it
there's.
is.
I don't
Maybe
think
we
there's
just made for
steps.
each other. Maybe that's why it's fucking so easy. I don't know.
I'm liking this talking.
Same.
Really
No, but I'm
good.
just saying,
Good.
like thinking about it, like I don't talk about it. I've never talked about this stuff with you guys.
Yeah.
No, you haven't.
So to,
Maybe you work. I mean, you can't say that you haven't had trials though. So like, you definitely know how to work.
yeah,
through
but
stuff.
the trials weren't between me and Mum. They were just life,
Yeah.
and then we just worked together to get
That's what I mean.
You know?
You definitely know how to work through stuff.
yeah. And I think that's probably one thing me and Mum we learned early was like it's way easier doing things together than doing them separately.
Yeah.
And I
You know
think
what I mean?
sometimes, do you agree with this? I think sometimes people in relationships tend to compete against each other
Yeah.
rather than work together.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
Dad's not my competition. I'm not
Yeah.
his competition. I'm not trying to be a better mum than he has been a
Yeah.
better dad. We just have roles to play,
Yeah.
and we have to play those
Yeah,
roles
you're very
well.
old school the way
Yeah, I
you
think
Yeah.
that's
brought
what
us
it
up.
is too. We're pretty old school. So
Yeah.
it's just like you do your role, I got my role, and
Yeah.
then there's no like, if we know our lines, So
That's
Yeah,
one thing
I
we should
think-
pass down to us is that old school kind of.
Yes,
like,
we're not that typical. I wouldn't even say modern day, where we set dates every week. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying we weren't that typical. Have a date every week. Got to set time aside. We just knew in our life that I had a role to play. Dad had a role to play. And as our seasons changed in life, we changed with it.
Seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as
Mum
our
had that one
seasons-
in there. She was
so
like,
as
ready to
our
use it.
seasons changed.
No, she
She
says that a
practiced
lot.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
no,
As our,
in defense of your mother, when we talk, just me and her,
It was just.
we talk. That's.
see, I make kids try.
I'm just saying,
My
you're trying to
mum-
mock
me and
her.
Ali would
My
You're
husband
trying to mock her, and that's how she
always
talks.
has my back. These
But we
guys
joking,
don't.
Ali.
As our seasons change,
I'm not slipping
Yes.
you.
we changed. We just naturally changed with it, and I think that.
Yeah.
And I think that's super important.
So what was the question?
Yeah.
Again?
I think
It
we
was just
chat.
how you navigate through disputes
Okay.
and stuff like that. We're still on the same.
Yeah,
Someone
because-
said we go off topic.
Yeah, it's still the
We
same.
do go
it's-
off topic
it's-
because
it's
we
still
like to
sort-
chat.
Sort of the same topic. I think if you actually boil it down, we just sort of set our boundaries very early, which is why we don't have we don't fight and argue.
Let Ali say it.
Hey, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Stop cutting off because
That
that's
was
why it
actually
takes. I'm
really
not
good.
talking to you, yeah, but everywhere it takes longer.
No one
You're
thought
asking
you
us the
were supposed to
questions.
Yeah, I
and
don't
answer
think
it.
anyone
Yeah.
cut
Oh,
me
that
off.
was
It's
actually
just
really
that.
good.
Ali,
Done.
you
We
say
can
to you
Yeah.
say question two.
I was only
you-
kidding. Anyway.
Question 2. How did you guys keep the boundary of being so close but still a parent to us?
Ooh,
that's
Oh,
a
that's such a good question.
Man.
Shout out to that person who asked
Yeah.
that.
Shout out to who?
Shout out to
That's a very good question.
Nye.Travis.
Yes.
And-
Very
Snaps
Snaps
for
for
you,
you,
girl.
Nye.
You got a
Girl.
boy or a girl?
Girl.
How you know who gets the credit for this is mum, because she's been like your
Yeah,
guys.
high five.
Yeah. Dad's always
She's-
been our dad.
She's enough. She's sort of done. She's like your guys' mate and
Yeah.
friend, but like strict enough to be
Yeah.
your guys' mum, and you guys know.
Yeah.
When she's
Yeah.
like,
There's the line. She
Yeah, the
had
line.
the perfect line.
yeah, it's very. You've
Dad was
walked,
always
you've walked
sick.
that line very well, darling.
Yeah.
I'll say
Thank
that
you.
you've done that very, very well.
So if she's asking how I did that,
How did you do
Yeah.
that? I don't even know how you did it, and I'm married to you, and I sleep
I
with you.
always,
Really?
I always had in my mind that I wanted to be your guys' friend, Zion included. I always wanted to create a friendship, but I think a friendship with your children is different to a friendship with a friend, because obviously with your children there's boundaries and there's a line. So I think we always had that open communication, but I also knew that there was that fine line of staying your mum, and I think the most important thing being a mum is you've got to know that fine line for your children. There was no line with what they could talk to me about, but when they talked to me about it, I had to know when I could turn that into a joke and when I had to be serious about it. Like it could have been boyfriends or anything, girlfriends, whatever. So I think as a mum, again, I don't think there's one specific answer. I think you know your children better than anyone, and you've got to find that fine line of being their friend and then being their parent.
Yeah, because I've just
Yeah,
always
that would be
been your
very
guys'
hard.
daddy.
Yeah.
I've never
Yes.
really been like
Yeah.
Yeah. Mum would just give us this look when we were younger. Like, we'd think it was funny, and then she'd give us this
The
look
eyes.
and she'd go, and then we'd be, and we'd just
Yeah.
shut up.
You've
Yeah.
done it, I will say,
That's a very
looking
good
back
question.
at our life,
Yeah.
you've done that very well.
Slay no.
I mean, what do we think that
Yeah.
her thing
Do you
was?
think she's-
like,
yeah, what do you
I personally feel like
I feel like we just always
yeah,
knew.
if there's anything you nailed the best, it was that. Like I
Yeah.
felt like I could tell you anything, even if I knew I was gonna get in trouble. I knew I could still tell you. It was just like, okay, how is this gonna like get fixed?
I
you
think
know?
you always knew, and I always used to say to you
I was
when
never
you were
super
younger,
scared.
that you were always allowed to tell me anything. If it was something wrong, there was always going to be consequences.
that's actually
but if
good
I
advice, yeah.
found out through somebody else, the
Yeah.
consequences were going to be worse. So I think
Yeah.
she's new. And just
I'll know.
just for the record, we have never smacked our kids ever. I would never put my hands on my children. So I think you've got to set boundaries with your children. The only one who knows those boundaries is the parents, and I think you have to. Again, I don't think parenting or even marriage comes with a step-by-step book. I think you have to sit in it and look at your family and your children and go, okay, what does I always say this, and my kids find it quite cringy, but it's my family is a movie, and how do I want this movie to end?
What is my conclusion?
I'm the director. How?
Am I like?
Am I in
Chris
it?
Hemsworth?
Am I in the movie?
Am I Chris Hemsworth?
I'm Jennifer Lopez,
Am I
and
Chris
you
Hemsworth?
can be The Rock. So that's who we
Oh,
are.
that's
I wanna
her
be-
celebrity
I wanna be
crush.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yes, Mum, you did a very good job of that.
Thank
Dad
you.
was always our dad. Like, we just always had that line of respect.
There's
We
a bit
never.
of fear for your dad.
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
I was never scared of Dad.
No.
No, not
There's a
scared,
difference between
fear.
scared.
Yeah.
No way
Daddy.
you-
There's
I'm
a
so
big
glad you're
difference
not scared
between
of me.
scared
And like that
and having a
respect
little bit of
and-
respectful
Yeah.
fear. Because if without that respect, without that little bit of fear, there's actually no respect.
Because I still had it with you though. As much as
Oh,
you
yeah.
were like our,
Yeah, I
you
was
know,
scared.
It's funny
Mum.
because
Yeah, I
they're
was
more
scared of
scared of
Mum.
me
way
even
more.
now than my husband. So it's and that's just
And that's without any
Yeah.
physical.
And I
anything.
feel like when you give direction to your children, or you give or the consequences you're handing out, you have to follow through. If they know that you're serious and you're going to follow through with these consequences, they know that their bad actions are going to have these consequences, and you're going to follow through with them. I think if you're constantly giving false
Is that aimed at me?
Yeah, that's
False.
no.
although that is one of probably the hardest things to do, you would know as a mum,
Yeah.
it's one of the hardest things to do is follow through with your threats.
When we got older, you got really strict on that. Like,
I was
a
the
point
naughtiest,
where I
so
was
I've
like,
had the most experience with that.
I can't remember a time where Dad didn't come back on something he told us. He was
Yeah, I
gonna do.
used to actually,
He was
even as your
just-
guys' mum, I used to think there was some things I didn't tell him. Like if I had laid down some rules and said, okay, if you do this, this is gonna happen, I wouldn't tell him
Yeah,
because he would
he'd follow
literally
through.
follow it through. Whereas I would be like,
The worst thing is if Mum found out through someone else.
That
So that's
party.
why I
Yeah.
think we just ended up telling Mum everything.
Oh,
Well, I did
you
anyway.
did.
oh, but I also think you have to, especially as a mum, because I think a mum, and not taking any credit from dad, because dads are super important, but dads play a different kind of role. We're born maternal, we're naturally maternal, and I think as a mum you need to create a space in your life, with your children, that they feel safe and heard and all those things. And I truly believe if you create that, your kids are going to come to you good or bad, knowing they're going to have consequences if they've done the wrong thing, but also knowing you're going to love them through it as well. And I think,
Yeah, that's
especially
what
for
she
this
made
one
very clear.
here, she was more mischievous, I would say. I would never say she was a terrible child, not at all. Like, it's nothing on what
Yeah.
some children
Yeah.
have been through.
She wasn't.
She was our most mischievous child, but she always knew she could tell me, and I would always, like, she would get it, but she always knew that we loved her even
Yeah,
harder
what Mum would
than
do was
discipline
Mum
her.
would ground me, and then I'd be like sad, but then the next day she'd just like love on me.
Well, in our life, we make, and it was something Kai
Yeah, I agree
purposely
with this.
did, was I made little things a real big thing.
Yeah.
So then so big things never became bigger things because our little things were big things. That was so big that nothing got bigger than that, if you know what I mean.
Like,
So
wagging was huge.
yeah,
That
so
was a huge
little things in my family
Yeah,
were
like
made
guys,
big.
literally all I did was wag, and I smoked weed a couple times, and Mum was angry at me.
Go. I'd
That's it.
still be mad at you.
One thing like that, like what I've sort of noticed with Mum, is that she was very good at like not letting her ego get in the way too much. Some parents, when they, are angry at their kid, they let their emotions and they become real silly.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what
Yeah,
I
like
mean?
just not talk to them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
listen,
yeah,
and,
yeah.
and they behave like children themselves. You know what I mean? Whereas Mum was always she was angry with you,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
get it out, and then the next day it's back
Sort it out.
to being normal. Okay, that's that little hill.
Yeah.
We're over that. We're carrying on. We're going here.
Question 3. How do you feel about your daughters doing social media?
I feel like this is the way of life now, is social media. I had a bit of a hate relationship with social media, not gonna lie, before my girls got into it. But that was because I was quite uneducated about it. I didn't realize the great side of it. Don't get me wrong, it does have a bad side. I totally understand that. But I think we are such a strong family that it'll never get to my girl's head because we are such a humbling family. Everyone likes to humble each other in this
Especially
family, so there
Zion.
is no thinking you're better than anybody. I was telling Paul how I actually felt sad last night that this is our new reality, and the selfish mum in me doesn't want to share my family with everybody. I'd like to keep them to myself, but then I also understand that by sharing our family and the way that we are and everything also helps a lot of people, because I personally get a lot of messages from mums, which I love, by the way, thank you so much. So yeah, it has been a big transition, I'm not gonna lie, it's a massive change. So how we feel about it, we're excited for them, super excited for them. Shush.
I actually do have an opinion on it. I actually don't think it's that big a deal. I just sort of think it's part of
Nothing's a nothing's a big deal to that. Yeah, I know what you're about to say.
I just don't think I think he's doing this, and just like you were swimming once upon a time and doing jiu-jitsu once upon a time, and you were doing these different things. That's what I see. It's just another thing that
See,
he's
he's
doing.
very humbling.
Sticks around or not, it could be gone in a month. It could be done in a year, a week. It could get cancelled.
Hopefully we don't get cancelled.
Hopefully
3
we're around
years.
forever.
We just ride the wave and see what happens. You know,
Yeah.
it hasn't really affected our life. Hang on, it has.
That's not true. I can't do
That's cutting off thing. We're
Hang
cutting
on.
off. Stop cutting everyone off.
Question 4. How is it having your in-laws live with you?
Who?
Surrounding you.
What?
Live
My
with
in-laws?
No, like all your guys'
Yous
partners.
having-
Your guys' partners.
Yous having our partners.
Yeah, our guys' partners.
Look, for me personally,
Your guys' partners, so not mum and dad.
Yes, our partners.
Oh, that was a
Dad.
question.
I love having them live here personally, because I feel like if we, at the end of the day, at the end of the day, your children are always going to grow up and find a partner. That's just life, and they're going to get married. That just happened, or whether they get married or not, but they're still going to have a partner. So I feel like if you can bring those in-laws in and treat them like your own and love them like your own, and they're going to feel like such a part of your family, you just become one big happy family. I mean, you take them with you take the good, yes, but you also have to take the bad as well. You help make changes in them that they may need, and just like our children, we do the same with our children. They need a bit of guidance, and I feel like with the in-laws it was the same. They came in completely different upbringings, different families, different morals and everything. But we just had to work with that, and we had to do the best that we can, because I wanted this big family. So if you want something like that, you got to put in the hard work.
If anyone wants to recreate this, one of the big things is that you can't have is ego.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's the biggest. I think that is the biggest.
If I had an ego,
Yeah.
like there's just
Yes.
no way those
No
boys
way.
would
That's
stick around.
100% so true. So Paul, there's never that power struggle. So Paul, like for example, how we live, say he's not that type of person to go and say, don't park your truck there. Yeah, this is my house. You should be doing that. There's never any of that. And
Well,
when
and I
there's
think
never.
and the reason why is because because we've got a solid relationship. Like there's no. Like I feel like people that do that sort of they
don't
have
feel
nothing
important.
and they have nothing in their
yeah.
lives.
I feel
Because
like
because we've got so much in our lives, like I don't have to
You
try
don't
and
feel beneath. Yeah.
try and
Fighting for that title of
Yeah,
I'm the
exactly.
man.
Yeah.
So we used to live with my dad when we were younger, my mum and my dad. And my dad was exactly the same. He never had an ego, never had to be the man of the house or anything. So
no, but because he just
It
was.
was-
yeah, that's what I was just about
He
to
just-
say.
and
My
I
dad
think
was
that's-
dad was just the man of the house.
yeah,
There was
and
no like
Paul is the
there
same.
was no him stamping his authority.
Yeah.
It's just the way that it was.
I feel like us living in our own house on your land, I can speak on this, and I feel like that if there's anything that like is at the top of how we are able to live like this, it's the fact that there is no ego from you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's not been one point in mine and Kerry's marriage since we've lived up there where like he's come to me and been like, your dad made me feel this way. Like not
We
one
get kicked
time.
out of their house. She sets rules, they set rules and boundaries, which is great, and we were the one who actually enforced that and said, no, you need to tell everyone what time they can't go up there and what time they can and all that. And you can't take offence.
And
That's
but
growing.
it's because it's real. Like to live like this, it's important for the men
Yeah.
to have
yeah.
that because women are
Yeah.
you're maternal and you'll do whatever you can to have the kids around.
I think,
did
and
feel
one
that,
of the other things I think that's important too is that we also use our heads and go, okay, Kerry's getting home from work at this certain time.
Yeah.
We don't all go up there when he gets home from work because we know they like to spend time together. So it's using your head as well and doing things that you would like have to be done for you.
Us girls are lucky too. We don't have partners that were like wanting to take us away from home.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Yeah,
We're moving
I
out,
feel like
like-
you've attracted very similar men to dad.
Zion has now entered the chat. Dad is leaving for 5 or so.
When you bring up your children, you set the tone. So I often say this to my children, to my husband. I have when I fell pregnant with my first child, I have one chance at this. I've got one go at bringing my kids up. So I had to do my absolute best. And your absolute best is your absolute best for you. It's not your absolute best for anybody else. And one thing that I did was I stayed in my lane. I didn't look at other parenting styles and all that, and I wasn't sidetracked. I had my style of parenting that I liked and that I wanted, and I stayed with that. So I feel like when you bring your kids up, you're setting the foundation. You're setting the tone for your children. So in mine and my husband's relationship, we had to be the best that we could be. Then now, as my kids are going into young adults, I get to now, after all that hard work, sit back and relish in the outcome of those decisions, which is great. And like I said, they all, I feel like, have got similar men to my husband, meaning they're not exactly like my husband, but meaning that was their standard, was their dad. And for my son, the standard was me for his wife.
Mom, was that on purpose just to piss us off?
Just to like mention like, oh yes, my sonny son boy got someone like me. What's so funny?
Peru is nothing like
Yeah.
you.
No,
Nothing
I mean,
like
no,
that.
Yeah,
I
standard
know
guys, I
that.
know.
Question 5. How was Mum able to stay at home for so long? Oh, be a stay-at-home mum.
I was 6 weeks pregnant with Taylor, and I was actually working at Just Jeans at Harbour Town. I opened Harbour Town Just Jeans.
Yes.
She's the OG.
Yeah.
I am the OG. And straight from them, Paul was like, no more working. And we both decided that that's what we wanted, was me to be a stay-at-home mum and Paul to work and provide for us financially. It was super important to the both of us that I was extremely present in their lives, because I believe that's a massive part of why we are all so close today. I
do
didn't
too.
miss.
Yeah, it is.
I went to assemblies. I went to
Yeah.
violin Stedford. I went to netball games. I was on the P&C at school. I was at every swimming. I didn't. I wanted to be so available to my children, and it was either give up some things financially and to be able to do that. You can't obviously have everything all the time, especially back in those days for me and Paul. And I would prefer to have had my time with my children than have that extra finances then, because I was so available to use.
I feel like
For sure.
too, like the little things like this were so important. Like every single afternoon when we'd get in the car, it was like conversation in the car. How was
Just
our day?
you.
What did you do? Yeah.
you
okay,
would-
well, I was
yeah,
the
take
oldest.
that.
I was the oldest. My life was
We couldn't get
my
a
life
word
was more
in
interesting.
when
No,
she was in the
we
car.
would have someone to tell Mum straight away. Taylor.
Literally.
They would
the
actually,
whole
this is the
car ride.
honest truth.
Okay,
They would
you
act-
spent your different school, so it doesn't
They
matter.
would actually say, can we speak first? Can we speak first? Because Taylor would take up the whole car ride.
But you know, it was
But
so
it's-
important.
yeah.
Like, I feel like Mum knew every single thing about my life because, like, she gave me that chance. Now that I think back on it too, like, Burger Bro days, Kaizen, all them, you would have been so busy, yet, like, every single afternoon, Monday to Friday, we got in the car and we were allowed to tell you about our day.
Very
Yeah.
true.
You weren't on the phone, you weren't, like, it was important to you. And, like, it was, like, a back and forth conversation. It wasn't just, like, me sit there tell her all about my day. It was like, oh, okay, and then what happened after that? Oh, okay, and then what did you do about that? Then you missed nothing. You knew everything.
I think it's important to make your kids feel heard. I think that's a really big thing.
And I remember, like, some days, it wouldn't be every single day after school, but, like, some days we would have, like, McDonald's after school or, like,
Oh yeah, something
picnic,
special waiting for us in the car.
Yeah.
And I also think that we were never ever the kids that would be at like a school carnival or swimming carnival and like waiting to see
where
if
was
mum
our
was there.
parents?
Like we knew that they were going to be there. Like it wasn't
I was
even
there with my
Yeah.
chair.
We had like a
with
full
my
packed lunch.
lunch
Remember
umbrella.
buns?
Take-
I
would-
She used to make ham buns.
I would
Yeah.
take my parents if Paul was away working, and that was the other thing when
They'd wear
they
red.
were
She was
when they
locked
were
on.
younger. You know, Paul had a job to do. He had a role to play, and I had a role to play, and we just knew that there was no. I didn't feel sorry for myself. I hold so much value in being a stay-at-home mum, and I'm so grateful that I was the stay-at-home mum.
The best feeling was when like you'd run cross country or something, and then you just hear mum yelling.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
the
Oh, baby,
best
go.
feeling.
And none of
There's one year, yes,
Cool.
my
With their
parents used to
umbrellas.
come and they'd bring filled rolls and that. This one year, Tia was so cute when she was
Oh,
at primary
I
school.
remember
She
that.
was really, she was cute and chubby. She was just the cutest. And they ran cross country. Well, Tia came second to last. So she was right down
you
my
came
back.
first,
So she was second to last. And I remember saying to her, "Oh, you're so amazing. You came second to first, but down the other end. So that's totally fine." And she was like, "Yeah," because she was so young. I think one of the most important things now with children, I feel with my grandchildren and that I want to do is I don't want them to always think that they have to have be first, second or third. Like, who cares? I really ain't that serious. Like,
Yeah,
if you come
just
first,
do
second
it.
or third, that's amazing. But if you come after that, it doesn't matter. You still ran it. So
If you think about it, the two we were both unathletic in school, and
Yeah,
these two
and
were
then,
athletic.
yeah, and
Like
then now
literally,
it's
I
switched,
was house captain. I remember that year that you
In the
lost.
swimming carnival?
Yeah, and mum literally, I was like running because the house captains had to run with the preppy, so I was running up the front with like the first, second, third, and she's looking at me like, "Get back to your sister right now." I had to stop, literally wait so long for her, and then hold her hand and run through the end with her.
They never cared really. Oh, they not that they didn't care, but like
Well,
in
the pressure
academics.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
Just to do their
we
best.
could get an A.
Yeah.
Like we never had to get
But
an A.
if our effort wasn't there,
Yeah, but if our effort wasn't there, then we'd get in trouble.
Or if they got I remember this one, they always had to get a gold certificate for
Oh,
behaviour.
yeah.
Yeah.
And one year
Oh,
Zion got silver.
One time
she was devastated. She cried.
Question 6. What advice can you give to other parents that might help them be more inclusive to kids' boyfriends or girlfriends?
I could hand on heart say I could get all of my kids' partners on the video and they could talk to you about
Yeah.
how we've made them feel, and I trust and I know that it would 100% be just loved. So when our first son-in-law came into our life, he was 16 years old, and that was our first experience, and there was nothing except love from me and Paul. We could see that our daughter loved this boy. As long as I see that my kids' partners love them with everything that they have, all the other little things you can tweak, because that comes with growth and age and all that sort of stuff. But if I can see that they genuinely love them, they're kind to them, and they respect them, I think those are the three main
I agree.
three main things that they need to have. Other things can be tweaked. Now, in our house, everyone's nosy. So little things will get told. So-and-so did this. So-and-so didn't do this. So-and-so said this. And so-and-so said
Keanu
that.
and Tia in the room
Yeah.
arguing.
Yeah. Now,
They
this
were
is
arguing the other
this
day.
is the
We were all
other thing.
listening.
Bickering.
Stop. This is the other thing.
Well,
that-
Mum, that's rude.
This is the other thing that I do. Because I
Do
need to
you
hurry
do?
up. This is the other thing.
I do.
The other thing that I do with my kids and their partners before they get married. So when they get married, it's totally different. There's boundaries and there's just lines you cannot cross, because they are married and they're starting their own life and their own things. But before that, if I hear that someone's had an argument, I will get myself involved, only so that I can say, okay, what happened, and educate them on how to sort it out. Because one thing we did when me and Dad were younger, I used to play little games. So I would be like, I would want some attention from him. So yeah, I'd do like real like little cringy
Can I
things,
tell a
like
story
not,
that you did
like
that
not
you told?
talk to him or things like that, so that I could get his attention. It never worked. So one thing I have taught my girls, and
Yeah,
they
this
can
is a big
vouch for
one.
this,
This is a big
is-
one.
I've always said to my girls, never hint. If you want some attention, tell them. If you want them to say something like you're beautiful or I love you, tell them.
Like Mum told us that literally when she was younger, she said to Dad, "I want you to tell me I'm beautiful every single day. Like that's one thing that'll make me feel loved." Dad literally tells you you're beautiful every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this. All the mistakes that me and my husband ever made when we were younger, whether they be big or small, we wanted to take those, teach our children, so that they don't have to make those mistakes. I think I've heard this thrown around quite a lot, and some parents saying, I'm their parent till they're 18, then they go off and they do their own thing. Me and my husband are the complete opposite. We are their parent until the day that I die. Even when my kids are married, yes, there's boundaries set, there's certain things we can't go and do and say. But if I see my child has been harmed in any way possible, or my child is harming the other one, I would definitely butt in.
Inclusivity question, like like I feel like our in-laws, obviously they're not our blood siblings or
Oh yeah, sorry.
blood,
Sorry, yeah.
but they are loved like how they love us. They get in trouble if they
Yeah.
need to be. They are loved, you know. We celebrate their birthdays just as big as our birthdays. Like there's so many little things that help. Sorry, Nana's behind our camera, like signaling to us, so we're just gonna have a
What?
quick break.
She just waddled on down from her house. She had nail polish all on her fingers.
Well,
What
for
would you
5
like?
minutes.
What's wrong?
Nail polish remover.
Shut up, Alia.
Frustrated.
You shut up. You shut up.
Hey, cut it out. It's like anything that we educate our children on, we educate their partners on, because at the end of the day, these are who our children are going to be with forever. And these men and these women are going to father and mother our future grandchildren. We've been blessed enough to have 4 incredible kids come into our life. Not my children, their partners.
I was gonna say, goddamn, yeah.
4 incredible kids come into our lives. But again, I think that comes back to our children having great foundation and them making good choices.
Yes.
You are the total sum of all of your decisions.
Yeah. And like look at that, like Dad made a decision to be with Mum, then they made a decision to be married and make all these little decisions and have kids, and then did all these parenting decisions, and then we became adults, and then we made all our little decisions, and now we're
And
here. It's not just
we
one
are-
thing.
We are living today in all of the seed that we sowed for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
That's what we live in today.
Yeah. And
We
I
sowed
think
good seed for 30 years.
one thing that Paul said to me a while ago, and
People talk about investing into the stock market, investing into houses, property, investing into their bodies to get muscly. I reckon one of the biggest things you can invest in is your children.
yeah.
Because what the
Hey, Dad.
well, because what's the word, the return on investment, if you want to call it that, it's
Measurable.
infinite.
I woke up one morning and he said, you know, I was thinking about it and I was like, why would I put all my time into a friendship out there when I've got my very own best friend and my son living under the same roof as me, and I can invest my time into him. And I just thought,
Wait, where are we in this?
and I just thought, that is so true, and that's exactly how I feel with my daughters, but not only with our own kids, that's how we feel with our in-laws as well. Why would we've got all these humans here, so all these humans that live here with us, why would we go out and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you can't have friends, we have friends, but
Some.
some.
Too.
But what I'm saying is the time, we don't have much time because we're so busy, and especially Paul when he's working in that. So the time that he has free, why would you not put that into your own children and invest that into your own kids? So I think with everything being said, and as we're coming to the end of this chit chat, if you can take anything away from our marriage, our advice in our marriage and our family, is I would say as a mum, I think you need to, no, you not I think, you have to be completely,
Yes, double take.
completely selfless.
This is just because this is what people have asked us. They've asked us how
What works
Yeah,
for
how we got
our
there.
questions
family?
about our life and blah blah blah. So that's why we're saying that.
Yeah. And like we love that. Like a lot of people have even that TikTok that I made, it was about us getting married so young. Like it's because that's our teachings. We didn't learn it from disuse.
But you say that, you know how it's here done that TikTok and it was like, you know, I don't know.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't wanna
there are a
be
lot of
friends.
people that are like
There's so
us.
many
Yeah.
people that I thought it was
Just
rare,
finding.
but there's actually heaps of people that.
I mean, I think there's
Just-
definitely more that aren't the way we are.
Yeah,
but-
there was a lot of hate comments on that video too about our relationship. That's okay.
Well, I
But-
didn't get many hate
okay.
comments. I'd like to say at the end of the day, there's 8 million people in the world. This isn't going to
8
work
million.
for
8 billion.
There's 8 billion people in the world. This isn't going to work for everyone, but this has just worked for us.
All right, guys.
Anyways.
Thank you for
Thank you so
coming.
much for watching.